Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County for Wednesday, October 11th, 2017. I am the Nighthawk, along with our studio director, Miss Joanne, and on the panel this week, Sans David. He was down in Miami flying back today.
Because he had an automobile event.
Yeah, and with the Yankees playing in 8 minutes, his beloved Yankees in the pivotal, the important game 5.
Probably won't see him.
Dave is probably relaxing on the couch.
But he's welcome.
Right now.
If you want to come over, Dave, we love having
Duke,
you.
I extend my right hand out to you, and I'm going to shake your hand. According to my calculations, this is show number 750.
Is that right?
In the annals of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County.
Our 14th year, or my year, or 15th?
We're in 14 and a half years.
So we're into our 15th year. 750?
The first show was March 20th, 2003.
Is that right?
And with all my calculations for the nights we missed because of weather or holidays.
Yeah,
so this
not
would be
many.
Show 750.
Wow, really?
And it's still the highest rated sports program on public access TV. So with all that being said, with that being said, I can guarantee you we won't be doing it for another 14 and a half years.
I don't think you'll see me. You might well hang in that line.
A big night for me, the Washington Nationals. We were on the verge of being eliminated. Game 4 last night, and that game was rained out. Tanner Roark.
Oh, is that right? I was on the road last night, so rained out.
Was going to be pitching for us, and everybody assumed Steven Strasburg was going to be pitching.
Huh.
He's got the flu, under the weather.
Really?
Of course, all the internet. Oh, the guy's gutless. He doesn't want to pitch in the big game. Wow. He was taking antibiotics, taking IVs. Well, he got to the ballpark this morning and told manager Dusty Baker, I feel better, I can pitch.
Huh.
So what did he do tonight? He pitched 7 innings.
So he did pitch.
Shutout baseball, 3 hits,
wow,
and 12 strikeouts.
Wow.
Okay? So you naysayers out there about Steven Strasburg, screw you.
That's
I'm going home.
That's impressive.
I was extremely nervous the whole game.
Top of the 8th inning now, right?
Top of the 8th inning, and the wind has been blowing in like probably 20 miles an hour.
And wet and raw in Chicago, right?
Raining all night long. Just a nasty night to be playing baseball. Yeah. And I would have bet my life. No way is a ball going to go to the ballpark. Well, the Nats have the bases loaded, top of the 8th, 2 outs. Their number 8 hitter, center fielder, Michael A. Taylor comes up.
Ask me if I had ever even heard the guy's name.
He started most of the year because Adam Eaton went down in April. He's a very, very good defensive center fielder and had a good year hitting. And he hit a ball right center field. Yeah. And I knew it was going to get caught. And the ball kept going. And before it gets to the front row, there's a little,
some netting,
for a better word, a moat. And there's a diagonal fence. And it probably cleared that fencing by 3 inches.
Yeah.
So,
but a legit Grand Slam homer.
So I had enough time to watch the bottom of the 8th. The Cubbies got a couple runners on. Yeah. But Ryan Matson in relief. Strasburg was going to go out and pitch the 8th inning.
Oh, really?
Nobody was warming up in the bullpen. After we got the grand slam, they figured, we hope anyways, the game is in hand.
So 5-0 Nats in the 9th inning.
Right, 9th inning. I'm hoping. I left my house at about 13 of 8. Yeah. Barely made it here for 8 o'clock. So I'm hopeful.
I thought you might have been occupied with your game.
And of course, we have game 5 tomorrow night at 8:08. That'll be the last divisional series game because again,
of course, that game back in Washington,
back in D.C. Now, the interesting thing too, you want to know how much power television has over sports. Yeah. Well, after the rainout, Major League Baseball said, "Look, we've got to go back to D.C." Okay. We want this game played out 1:08 in the afternoon, which made all the sense.
That's what Major League Baseball said?
Made all the sense in the world.
Well, except after a night game in Chicago, I'm not sure that makes a lot of sense.
Well, they didn't play last night.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were saying today they won the game.
1:08.
Okay.
TBS told Major League Baseball.
Forget it.
No, it's not going to happen. Says you make us play this game 1:08. you find some other network to carry the
did
game.
Did they
So
really say
we would
that?
lose way too much revenue by showing an afternoon game while everybody's working.
Wow.
It's not going to happen. So
In part because they didn't want to be competing also with the Yankees game tonight? Was that part of that too?
No. TBS said we will go 4:08. That's the earliest
Oh, okay.
we'll do it.
Okay.
And again, money rules. And
Wow, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And again, it makes sense. A lot of people get out of work at 4. They may not make it for the first couple innings.
Wow.
But they said, no way, we're not showing this game at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
Nobody's going to be watching. We're going to lose millions of dollars of revenue.
Interesting.
So I caught that.
So MLB caved? I mean,
Yeah.
not like, I mean,
Yeah.
they had no choice basically?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's interesting.
Absolutely. So on to
Wow.
hopefully game 5 tomorrow night. Their number 1 pitcher, Kyle Hendricks, for the Cubbies, pitching tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And we'll be going with Gio, but I can assure you, Max Scherzer will be in the bullpen tonight.
right.
Jake Arrieta pitched tonight.
Yeah.
Hadn't pitched in 15 days. He went 4 innings, shutout ball, and then they brought a pretty good reliever in by the name of John Lester.
Oh, is that right?
You know,
Came in relief?
all hands on deck.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Lester pitched really well in relief.
Really?
And so,
Wow.
it's like the Yankees tonight. They've got CC Sabathia going tonight, but I can assure you. Oh, we have a call. Good evening. You're the first caller tonight on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. Go ahead.
Well, good evening, guys.
Hey, how you
caller.
doing?
Good, good. Boy, what you were just talking about your game. I caught just the 8th inning on there. There was 2 guys on base, and the Cubbies pitcher was a bit wild. He threw a ball. It was ball 1 to Taylor. Then Madden went right out after him. And I was telling my wife, this is a good coach. I said, this is what you do. You don't let these guys hang in there. Mm-hmm. They went and got Wade Davis, which arguably is one of the best closers in the game.
Absolutely.
I kind of thought Michael Taylor coming up, well, geez, not the guy I'd like to see coming up with the bases loaded in a situation like this. And the next thing I know, Wade Davis just left it hanging in the middle of the plate. Taylor hit it. I didn't think it was going to carry that far.
Yeah.
That outfielder kind of turned himself in circles near the warning track, and as you said, it fell into that angled net, and it was just kind of shock and awe. And I'm sure you were jumping for joy, but that kind of tucked that game away.
Yeah.
It looked more like football rather than baseball.
Yeah, and I was shocked. Before I even screamed,
I'm surprised they played the game, or?
Well, they had
Gotta
to.
play it,
Addison Russell, the shortstop for the Cubs, I think in the second inning, hit a shot that would have been at least 10 rows.
Really?
And it made it
Died.
to the ivy, right in front of the ivy.
Yeah.
So, as the caller said, shock and awe is a good description for
Wow.
it. So we live. Well, caller, do you have the final score? Caller?
I just thought it was 5-0 in the 9th.
Right.
So I would pretty much say that was it, especially in those conditions, they're not going to come back and score 6 runs.
Yeah.
But I think another big piece of news today, I just caught your show. I don't know what you guys are chatting
We
about.
just
the
started
first
Talking
5
about
minutes,
Mr.
but-
Farrell, perhaps?
The what now?
Talking about John Farrell, obviously?
Yeah,
Then-
yeah.
I just got that. I got a message. I was on a road trip, Bobby. My friend Clanman called me, and Clanman wasn't happy. I just happened to check a phone message a few hours ago, and he mentioned it. That's the first I've heard of it. But what do you think? I have my usual mixed emotions, I guess.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
He was a nice guy. He was a gentleman. And as I read this one article briefly, there was a lot of past. I guess Red Sox are pretty good for drama the last few years. I guess David Price always called him Manager John. I guess there wasn't a lot of love between those two. And again, as I read that article, here we go, David Price again. It seems as though he's on the end of every dramatic incident for the Red Sox. And, one could argue, well, geez, he got us in first place this year. What more could you ask a manager?
As he did last year.
On the other side, you could argue, we haven't get by the first round. So I guess they just want to put a new face on the team. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and he wasn't Dombrowski's guy. Of course, he wasn't Dombrowski's guy. Had it not been for his cancer issue, Torrey Lovullo would presumably be the manager today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they are talking, a couple names thrown out there was Alex Cora, the bench coach for the Houston Astros, which I guess his name is going to be pretty hot. And an interesting thing, a guy I always admired is the pitching coach of the Tampa Bay Rays. His last name is Hickey, and he has always groomed these young pitchers. Tampa has put a lot of good young pitchers up through the last few years, and the trouble with Tampa, they just don't shell out the money to hang on to them.
Yeah.
So, I see no reason for whoever's coming over to hang on to our pitching coach nor our hitting coach. And, I saw the thing on Roto World the other day that Hickey and the Tampa Bay Rays have agreed to part ways. So, I'm hoping that the Red Sox can lure him to Fenway and, have him kind of coach up our pitching staff. So,
Caller, the other
we'll wait
name,
and see what happens.
The other name being bantered about is a former Dave Dombrowski hire, guy I really like a lot. And I was hoping he would be the Washington Nationals manager a few years ago.
Brad Osmus?
Dartmouth graduate Brad Osmus.
I think he lives on Cape Cod. Definitely.
He lives on Cape Cod?
I think so.
Yeah.
Is he out? Did he get fired by
He got fired by the Tigers, and the Tigers are going through a huge rebuild.
Yeah. A couple other names.
I think Osmus would be a nice pickup.
A couple other names in the Globe today. Jason Varitek, Gary DiSarcina, who's Farrell's bench coach.
Yeah.
And also Brian Butterfield. I'm not sure I know.
Yeah. I would say Osmus and Coro are probably the two leading contenders.
Could be. Well, did Farrell have anybody hear any comments from Farrell about after he got the axe? Did he say anything?
I don't know. I haven't read anything yet, but I'm sure he took the gentleman's way out.
Yeah, I suspect. Of course, he kind of, as it happened, his last game was rather ignominious. He gets tossed in the second inning, and that whole thing.
That was Pedroia's.
Yeah, they mentioned that.
Not happy with Pedroia.
Yeah, I thought that was extremely selfish on Pedroia's part.
Pedroia's he's driving me crazy these days, and like Ortiz did, these temper tantrums. That pitch that Pedroia took, it was a flip of the coin pitch.
Well, Duke, I'm going to ask you one question.
The call thirds, that inning killed them. Bases loaded, nobody
baseball
out.
At 8-6.
Don't let it close.
What's the coach tell you with 2 strikes?
Really?
Anything close?
Right.
The umpire could be off an inch or two.
It was close.
I'm telling you right now, and caller, my guess is you like Petey a lot, but I think it's time for a change with new leadership in that clubhouse. And I would suggest...
I agree. I thought of that this afternoon after I read the article. He, love the little guy. He is the perfect icon for Charlie Hustle in baseball, but he seems to be caught up in a lot of controversy. Yes. They mentioned that as well this year with the Manny Machado thing, and one of their pitchers hitting Machado back, and them looking into the Red Sox dugout, and Petey saying, "Hey, that wasn't me," and him not sticking up for his pitcher at that point. But he's pretty banged up. I'm sure he'll come back, but you just got to kind of wonder what role it would be. I read today his knee's in pretty tough shape, and if he does got it operated on, it will be quite an extended recovery. So, we'll see what happens.
Let's just hope they haven't killed Eduardo Nunez, who looks like he would be maybe a more than capable full-time second baseman. I hope they haven't killed him with his injury.
Caller, a follow-up on Pedroia's knee. If that is as serious as it may be, and I'm not a doctor, but say it's an ACL or MCL, whatever it might be, those usually take 10 to 12 months to recover from. So, Pedroia may be gone for the entire season.
You know what he ended the season with? I just saw this today. When's the last time this guy got a hit? And again, for the record, I've praised nobody more than Pedroia over the years for how hard he plays. I love the guy, but three out of his last 40, I think.
Really?
2 for 16 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But he's banged up. He's in tough shape.
Now, caller, let me suggest this to you.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that Giancarlo Stanton is available. He only hit 281, 59 home runs, and 132 RBIs.
Wow.
He's got a bargain basement contract of 10 years, $285 million.
Is that right?
He's grossly underpaid at $28.5 million. My opinion, he's the best player in baseball if he's healthy, and that's been his issue for the last half dozen years. Is he played 159 games this year, but he's never healthy. It would take some ball players from the Red Sox to obtain him, but he would look good in right field. And let me tell you this, I would get rid of Pedroia, and I would have the best second baseman in all of baseball offensively. And this guy doesn't even have to be an average fielder, by the name of Mookie Betts. Okay, Mookie Betts.
Former second baseman.
Right, former second baseman. They got around 25 home runs, 102 RBIs, hit 302, and there would be nobody better than Betts at second base.
Although he's almost immediately turned himself into a very good outfielder.
Yes, he's a great athlete. That's why I'm saying I think he could reform himself back to at least being an average second baseman.
Interesting.
Let me add on to your Stanton suggestion. Now, it's going to take 3/4 of our farm system to lure him to the Red Sox, correct?
Well, you would have to give up a guy like Bogarts or Devers to get him.
Really?
Yep.
Plus quite a bit more.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
But this is the sticking point. Now, in 2 years, Stanton has a buyout in his contract. So are you willing to give up Benintendi, Devers, some young pitchers out of our farm system for 2 years? Automatically, as you just said yourself, he's grossly underpaid by today's standards. And I can almost promise you, in 2 years from now, he is going to want another contract.
Okay, caller.
I guess if that's the case, I wouldn't do that.
Caller, you caught me with the bat on my shoulder.
What about the Yankees? Why wouldn't the Yankees? Why wouldn't the Yankees just go after him in
they don't
after
need
2
him.
years? I guess they don't.
Yeah,
need
you
him.
caught me with a bat on my shoulder. I didn't realize I had an opt-out, so
Wow,
that's probably the end of the argument.
I haven't seen any Red Sox beat writer even mention him.
Because let's just say he does stay healthy.
If this is going to be the case. I think J.D. Martinez is our man to get. I want him and Eric Hosmer. But if we are going after a Stanton type guy, why don't we wait another year or two and get your guy from the Nationals in free agency without giving up prospects?
Yeah, and that's a good point because Bryce Harper could set the bar. Just say he gets $35 million a year. Again, Stanton, when healthy, is a better player than Harper, and he will opt out, as you mentioned, after 2 years with the Red Sox. So now I have a question for you going into next season. Will the Red Sox give Sam Travis the first base job, or are they leery where they want to be looking for a bat since they didn't have much pop this year by getting an established first baseman?
Moreland, I guess, just had a 1 year.
Yeah,
Moreland had a good year for $6.5 million. Moreland had a good year.
But is he going? That was a 1 year contract,
1 year
right?
deal. Yeah.
I would assume they would try to bring him back. You would think.
Well, Hosmer could play first.
Eric Hosmer is our answer.
Yeah.
Eric Hosmer, I know of this guy. I followed him since he was in Omaha and the minor league systems of Kansas City. And this guy, he's a Golden Glove every year, bats 300, 25 to 30 home runs, a bunch of ribbies, and that short left field fence we have in Fenway, he would be awesome for that. And like I said, the guy is as fit as a fiddle. The guy's in great shape. tall, strong, and lean. A lot of good plays, a lot of getting to foul balls behind your head at first base doesn't get into the box scores.
Yeah. Now, how old is he, and what do you think his contract?
I think he's 26
or
gosh. 27, but
okay.
the guy is as fit as a fiddle. He's a workout fanatic, and the guy's a great player. I think we would be getting him at the right age.
Yeah, he's coming to his prime. If he is, in fact, 27.
I would rather sign a 27-year-old to 5 years than a 31-year-old to 5 years.
Yeah, I would suspect he might get an 8-year contract, $8 and $200 million at a $25 million a season, if he is 27 years of age.
Yeah.
And that'll bring him to 35, and these guys are much better shape today than they were 20 years ago at age 35. And even at the tail end of his contract, he could always DH. So, yeah.
So, and that's what I think hurt us. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out the lack of power. And, I for one, I'm eating crow. I didn't think with Poppy out of there, Big Poppy, I thought we could fill in that hole, but we never did.
Yeah.
And,
well,
I was in.
Although they did, for the record, I mean, kind of almost lost in the shuffle already, is the fact they did win the AL East. I mean, that's not, chopped liver exactly.
Well, caller,
No doubt about it.
I'm right with you, because I kept telling Duke over the winter, I said, Duke, the Red Sox, I believe, scored 103 runs more than I think the runner-up last year was Toronto. I said, just say Poppy's worth 50 runs versus the guy going in for him. They're still in good shape. And actually, if you check, I bet they were probably 5th, 6th overall in scoring runs.
I think they were maybe 6th the last time I heard this stat.
Yeah. So a couple things. I do want to give a shout-out, and he got lost in the Aaron Judge shuffle. But Benintendi, who plays in nice left field, 20 home runs, 90 RBIs, 271. Thank you very much for otherwise 9 out of 10 years you would have won the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he kind of faded a little bit during the season. Came on.
I agree, Duke. We did win first. We played well, but just not getting over this first hump. That's why John Farrell's unemployed today.
Yep, you're right about that.
We pay big money, and the Red Sox, I don't think we're that far away from being a World Series contender. So, I'm just throwing around a couple names that I would like to see on the team in addition to what we have, and maybe put us one notch a little better than we are. Because, we played a good game against Houston yesterday, I believe it was, and, a swing of a bat, we could have won that game as well. So,
now, caller,
I don't think we're that far from being a premier team of the American League.
Caller, let me pose this question to you that just popped to my head, and I think it actually may make some sense. Could this Farrell firing be just as much that, as you mentioned, him and David Price do not get along? They're stuck with David Price's contract. Nobody's going to take a contract, I believe 5 years remaining at $31 million a year. So in order to appease David Price, hopefully get his head back on straight, that they would get rid of Farrell so Price could probably perform.
If what you're saying, I hadn't really heard about that. If what you're saying,
I'm just throwing it out.
But I'm just saying that's really ironic, because some of the criticism Farrell got was for not saying, "Hey, David Price, your comments about Eckersley, why didn't you jump in and tell Price he was off the mark on that?" And Farrell basically said not one word. So if you're right about he and Price not getting along, that's ironic, because Farrell also got a lot of grief for not criticizing Price for not getting it together to apologize to Eck. And that issue did seem to kind of dog them.
And of course, Pedroia getting heat, being a team captain, he should have stepped in. But of course, during the conversation on the airplane, it was reported he was one of the guys clapping.
Well, it sounds like the whole team supposedly. And Jackie Bradley did kind of the same thing. Got that picture taken with Eck, only to make fun of him or whatever.
But I think, caller, before you go...
if Red Sox would have won the series with Houston, we probably would not be having this conversation right now.
And Mr. Farrell obviously would still have a job.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and that's what I predicted months ago. If Farrell doesn't get out of the first round, he'll be gone. If they would have won, he'd be around come April.
Yeah.
So, now, caller, before you go, who do you personally want as the next manager?
Oh, I don't really know. You know what I saw today? I really don't know a lot about either of them. Yeah. But what I did read, Cora is going to be a hot name out there this winter. You know, they know more about it than I do. I would certainly be happy with him. And you guys mentioned Osmus. I've heard his name. I really don't know a lot about him, but, you know, both of those guys sound pretty good to me. You know, it's a tough job coaching today. It's a very, very tough job, especially in Boston, New York, maybe L.A. So,
yeah.
You know, who's ever up for it, I guess, will be okay.
Let me throw this out at you. Joe Girardi's contract is up this season, okay? If, say they lose tonight, the Yankees decide to go in a different direction, Girardi could end up managing the New York Mets. Just go across town.
Isn't it hard to believe the Yankees? I mean, that's right. I'm surprised they didn't re-up him. I can't imagine he's not back unless he doesn't want to be back.
Well, if they lose tonight, again, just throwing it out there.
Who expected the Yankees to be a postseason team? I don't think a lot of people did.
Right, I agree with you, Duke.
No, he's back.
I love Girardi.
He did. Sounds like he screwed up big time in one of their losses, but.
Yeah, they kind of overachieved this year. I thought Girardi did a good job with them.
Yeah, I think he's back. But I guess the Mets, if for some reason they don't bring him back, you'd think the Mets. Why wouldn't the Mets go after him? Because
I could see Cora. That's where I'm guessing he ends up with the Mets.
I don't have strong feelings about the Red Sox managerial situation.
So. Okay, caller. Anyway. Thank you so much for buzzing in.
Okay, you guys have a great evening.
Hey, thanks for calling. Thanks a lot.
527-6449 to be on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County.
The Farrell situation stuff. This is the Herald yesterday, Boston Herald. Mr. Farrell on the cover, and this is before he got fired up. Steve Buckley on Farrell. Get him out of here.
I like Buckley.
But the Globe today, Chris Gasper, Red Sox in need of major upgrade, but at the end of his column he gets into unfair to fire Farrell, and then Nick Cafardo, the headline, firing would be in unfair territory.
It probably is unfair.
It probably is.
However, it sounds like he lost control of the clubhouse, which is unfortunate.
Like I said, I
have no misgivings. I don't dislike Farrell. But, you know, here's the deal. If I'm guessing Farrell, if he's lucky, he's getting $6 million a year.
Yeah, probably sounds about right.
He's up against David Price that signed a contract for $211 million or $217. Okay, Duke, it's basic economics. Who's going to win that argument? You know.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of little things would get me. Even in the earlier game when Farrell brought Chris Sale out for the sixth inning, you know. I mean, he's getting killed in 5 innings. You know, why are you doing that? I mean, a little thing, I guess. And again, the last game, Pedroia gets into one of his temper tantrums on a pitch he absolutely should have swung at, pitch that might have been a strike, and Farrell comes out, and he's not getting beat up too much. He was just protecting Pedroia. Fine, protect him, but don't get thrown out of the game, John. It's game 4.
Yep.
You can't do that.
Yep.
Even if the umpire had a short trigger on that, I mean, you can't do that.
See, I agree. Farrell, again, protecting his player, he should have went in there, brushed Pedroia out of the way, and just go I'm just here to get Dustin. That's it. You know, because you never, ever argue a third strike with an umpire.
I think Farrell claimed he didn't, but still, you can't let that happen.
Well, he was in the umpire's face that close.
Right. You can't do that. So if Dombrowski was still kind of pondering which way to go, I mean, that might have been the last nail in the old coffin.
You know, the Dusty Baker for the Nats does not have a contract for next season.
Is that right?
He's the oldest manager in baseball.
How old?
67, I believe, which is ancient.
Thank you.
How old are you, Duke? 67. There you go.
Ancient guy. Is that right? No contract for next season? Is that a case? Is he in maybe the same situation as Farrell, that he needs to win at least one series to
could be
keep
a
going?
possibility, and Brad Armas to the Nats wouldn't upset me either. So
Brad Osmus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, the Nats, the fourth year they're in the NLDS.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten out of the first round yet.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
and there's no guarantee with Gio. Up till 3 weeks ago, I would have bet my farm on Gio, but he hasn't pitched well in 3 weeks.
So assuming the Nats, and I trust they did, assuming the Nats won their game, so we're talking about an 8 o'clock start tomorrow night?
8:08 tomorrow night,
in
prime
D.C.
time. Yeah. Now,
It's interesting what you said about TBS. So Major League
That
Baseball
surprise you?
wanted.
I don't even know
guess
where I
not.
read that, but I'm reading it and it says, I can believe this.
Probably doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I will tell you this, and I think we had, I don't know if it was the Red Sox game or the Nats game. It was on MLB, and it was like listening to fingernails on chalkboard. Bob Costas was doing the game.
Really?
And there's not a more obnoxious sports guy in the world than Bob Costas.
Oh, is that what you done?
Yeah.
I don't have particularly strong opinions.
It was tough to sit there to listen
probably
to
gets
him.
probably gets a little too. Does he get political? A little too political for him?
Well, he lost me. I never liked him, but he lost me on gun control a couple
really?
years ago on Sunday Night Football. Now, Craig Kimbrell came in yesterday. And nothing against Kimbrell. He had a great season.
For the
However,
two-day Monday was the game.
I'm sorry, 2 days ago. Wade Davis came in today. Okay, as the caller said, one of the top 3 closers in baseball.
Yeah.
He was coming in, and you know me, I've known you for like 40 years.
Yeah.
If anything I'm going to say about sports is the closer is the most overrated position of all the
said
sports.
that often.
It is a fabricated stat, the save. Okay, Wade Davis came in after the relief pitcher walked a couple people, threw a first strike. Joe Madden came in, made the right move, brought Davis in.
Yeah.
It was Wade Davis that gave up the grand slam.
Is that the race
Right.
pitcher?
I mean,
and Kimbrell had a lousy game the other day.
Yeah.
Well, that's a tough thing for the Red Sox. I mean, now Chris Sale is in the books, having a very good season, albeit one that was shaky in the last month and a half or so. But his key start postseason, he gets shelled.
Right. But
That's Price's rep.
Right. But let me say this about Chris Sale.
Yeah. Pitched pretty well in relief until he probably
did
kept
not
him
have
in.
a good September. But we have short memories. Say Chris Sale had a lousy April.
Sure.
And pitched great like he did all season.
Sure. The Yankees
he
maybe
finished
win the
with a
division.
2.90 ERA, second best to Corey Kluber. If I asked any Red Sox
Pitching
fan
tonight, of course.
back on April 1st as the season began,
sure.
I said, would you take a 2 point?
Right.
Consistency
yeah,
in
of
pitching,
course.
it's not in the same
But
sentence.
just for the Red Sox, with Price's, and
I
again,
will-
Clayton Kershaw's got a bit of the same issue.
Now, Corey Kluber, if you check, and I don't have the stat, he sucked in April. And I think
that
it
right?
even continued into mid-May. Then he put a Superman cape on and brought his ERA from like 5 down to the end of the season, I think at 2.25, and will be the unanimous Cy Young Award pick. But I like Chris Sale. I like his mentality.
Yeah.
And you know what? He kept his mouth shut the
Yeah.
whole year.
Yeah.
He's got a very focused and again, he was that close to being on the Washington Nationals. I was on
right.
vacation. I was
Wow.
on the cruise ship.
Huh.
I flipped it on a Sunday night. Nationals in extensive negotiations with Chris Sale. I screamed to my
right.
wife that could care less. I said, oh my God, we're getting Chris Sale. What a pitching staff. Scherzer, Strasburg, and Chris Sale.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
And then Dave Dombrowski called up at 7 o'clock in the
Of course,
morning.
Moncada, I guess, was one.
And
was the key guy.
Moncada was the key guy because the Nats offered their 2 top pitchers, Ronaldo Lopez and Lucas Giolito. And I will admit, the Red Sox had a better offering.
Yeah.
And it was a great trade for the Chi Sox, great trade for the Red Sox. And, of course, the Nats, a couple days later, took that same package, traded them to the White Sox for center fielder Adam Eaton, one of my favorite players. Of course, he had a knee injury third week of the season, so we never really got to see him play. So,
But boy, for Red Sox, I mean, four postseason games and the starter in each game was terrible. Terrible.
yep. Well,
Porcello was lucky. Porcello could have been out of that game Monday
Yep.
in a couple innings.
and the Nationals just the opposite. Going into tonight's game, Duke,
Yeah.
they had a team batting average of 121.
Really?
Okay.
In postseason?
Yeah, in the series against the Cubs.
Wow.
Every run they scored was via the home run.
Really?
Kind of like the Leonard conversation we had 2-3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
how baseball is overly dependent on the home run and is, to a certain extent, has ruined the game. Now, what I liked about tonight's game, even though the Nats did get that grand slam, is every pitch mattered.
Yeah.
Okay, and Ron Darling, the color guy of the game, he goes, just by the nature of the weather tonight, the most controversial play right now is check swings. It was just so vital every at bat. So, well, I'm assuming the Nats won. So somebody, I will watch the final.
Feel free to confirm for
Yeah.
the Nighthawk whether. I mean, that's okay if you're obviously get told that.
Right. I'm saying it's safe to assume we can get through the ninth
Should
inning.
be pretty safe,
So,
I hope. So so you got a game 5 tomorrow night.
So get into football, the big news, and again, whatever I say up here, it's always about the money. The NFL is starting to crack down, okay? Their
Is that right?
ratings are down double digits. Monday Night Football has achieved an all-time low ratings.
Is that right?
Okay. People aren't showing to the ballpark. Now, I'm heading down, Duke, first Sunday in November.
Is that a decision you're...
Well, I go down every year. To be a gentleman, I'm not going to tell the guy, we suck this year.
Gotcha. Yeah.
The ticket,
I
so I'm
hear you.
going down.
Yeah.
Now, here's what he told me. He told me, and I quote, if the NFL does not straighten up their act,
Yeah.
I'm seriously considering giving up my tickets. Now, here's a guy that paid $10,000 to get his personal seat license before he had the dubious distinction of pulling out his checkbook and then paying for his yearly ticket package. People are fed up with it. The NFL knows it, and I know for a fact owners are calling Goodell, say, you've got to make these radicals get up off their knee and stand attention to this flag.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll tell you what my buddy told me, who's got those season tickets. He goes, I go down to the football games. I follow politics very closely. I'm there for 3.5 hours to relax. I don't want to think about the news. I don't want to think about politics. Okay, I'm paying money here. You are working for me. And he's right. Okay, we don't want to see that garbage. And I have stood to my boycott of football. I'm a good American. I wish I was a greater American because I would boycott the Giants, but I'm not that good of a person. I have not watched any football whatsoever. I will watch the Giants, a 12-point underdog, Sunday night against the #1 defense of the Denver Broncos, but I refuse to watch any other football, okay? And I'm an older person. Unlike when I was 25 years old, I have disposable income at my age. I'm not going to watch their stuff. And it's guys like me, it's guys like you that they want to watch the games. They're in deep trouble. And the problem is the proverbial tail is wagging the dog right now. You cannot let your employees run the asylum right there. And Goodell is succumbed to the employees, and it's absolutely taken the fun out of watching football. And as I said, the owners, they understand what's happening now. And for a lot of people, Duke, they boycott league football. A good percentage will not come back to the sport. And even before all this behavior, football was on the decline anyways.
But you think this is a big factor,
this is
huh?
huge. This is
like
a
I said,
huge
personally,
business decision.
it's not a big issue to me. I lose sleep over talking about North Korea as if a nuclear war with North Korea is, oh yeah, well that might happen.
Yeah.
That's what I lose sleep over.
But you don't watch a lot of live football either.
No, I watch Patriots. I don't go much beyond the Patriots.
And I watch.
and I'm a lot easier with protests than you are, obviously.
Yeah.
Hey, I've done some protesting myself in my youth. It's not a huge issue to me, but it's really hurting the NFL.
It's front page news every day. And finally, I'll tell you, I'll take it one extent further, even a better example. The racist, radical TV personality, Jamel Hill.
That's funny you mentioned.
ESPN put up with her bull crap a couple weeks ago. Okay, people were outraged by that. She went on and did another tweet against Jerry Jones because he told his employees, whether Jerry Jones is right or wrong, he owns that team. These guys work for him. He told his players, you're standing up. No more getting on the knee.
She went after him?
She went after Jerry Jones. It's time to boycott the Dallas Cowboys advertisers. Screw you. ESPN, as David and I have been telling you for months, ratings are down on ESPN. Subscription service is down on ESPN. So they told this racist bitch, I'll be honest, that you're suspended for
2 weeks.
For 2 weeks.
Funny you mentioned
and
that.
Al Sharpton now is in the news.
The Reverend Al.
Right.
Al still waiting for an explanation on Tawana Brawley, which obviously we'll know.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was on the road yesterday in Point South in Vermont, and because of you, I just looked at out-of-town papers, and I grabbed a New York Daily News, which in my haste I didn't bring tonight, but she was on the front page of the Daily News. ESPN suspended her for 2 weeks. What did she say about this? Did you see any of her comments about
The only thing
suspension?
I saw is thank you for Michael, is it Michael Smith, her partner? She has a show at 6 o'clock on Sports Center.
Don't even know.
ESPN. So, but ESPN, why do they feel differently today than they did 2 weeks ago? Because the people have spoken. One of my favorite political sayings from our good friend Richard Milhouse Nixon, the silent majority has spoken, and ESPN. And again, it always boils down to money. So she's gone. She should have been fired, period.
She had two weeks suspension.
2 weeks is not right. No pay suspension.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't bring that. Yeah, she was on the cover.
Again, Duke, I will sit down and talk politics any day of the week with you, but if we're out on the golf course, we're at a ball game together, I don't like mixing that together. Politics and sports has two separate rooms as far as I'm concerned.
I will mention one political thing, and you'd be in agreement about this. I don't catch Sean Hannity trying to drive me crazy. He's such a sycophant for Trump, but I did happen upon him for a couple minutes the other night, and he was just going crazy about the Harvey Weinstein situation and the double standard, and I got to say he's right on. I mean, look what the media, who I have infinitely better feelings for in general probably than you do. I mean, any Fox, Roger Ailes, Bill O'Reilly. I mean, they went again. It's certainly newsworthy stuff.
We're over.
But Harvey Weinstein. In fact, Hannity was also ripping the late night guys for not saying a word. I guess that night, an hour or two later, I guess they all finally gave him some grief.
Right. I mean,
but again, had he been a big mucky muck with Fox, that would have been big news for days. So I absolutely agree. In that case, that's a perfect example of a double standard.
Yeah, there are over 20 women now against Harvey. His wife left him.
You know the most surprising thing about it? Guess who? You probably know this if you're following the story. Guess who at least one of his lawyers was until I'm sure she got so much grief.
Gloria Aldridge's daughter.
Lisa Bloom.
Lisa Bloom, yeah.
Who ironically, I think, was representing some of the folks who were going after O'Reilly. I think. I mean, she does a lot of stuff like that, which is fine. I was stunned when I saw she was representing Weinstein until...
Harvey Weinstein went to Obama's White House 13 times. Yeah. He was a big donator to the Clintons. Huge Democrat.
So I agree. That was a case. I'd be happy to tell my liberal friend that was a perfect case of an incredible double standard. Kudos actually to the New York Times, who conservatives love to hate for doing. I mean, it's a tough story. That's a tough story. A lot of times the stories have been going around about that guy for years, I guess, but who talks on the record? Kudos to Ashley Judd, who was maybe one of the first, and some more people.
Well, it's over 20 now.
Is that right? Over 20?
Yeah.
But again, it's a little tough story if nobody's talking on the record, but kudos to the Times for doing a good solid reporting on that.
Brad Pitt was with Angelina Jolie.
I saw Angelina.
He put a move on her Pitt went and saw him and said, "You touch her one more time,
right?
I'm going to give you a Missouri beating, whatever a Missouri beating is."
Is that right? I did see her name.
Yeah.
So a bunch more people have come out.
Yeah, yeah. So
Anyway,
Yeah.
back to sports.
back to sport. Now, the New York Giants.
Love calls, folks. Give us, love to hear from you. And please confirm for my good friend the Nighthawk that the Nats did win their game tonight.
I'm going to give you a name right now
Yeah.
to remember come end of April.
Yeah.
Josh Rosen, quarterback for the UCLA Bruins,
Okay.
6'4", 220 pounds.
Heard Colin Cowherd tout him.
The Giants conceivably will have the third pick in the April draft, okay?
Wow.
They just lost 4 wide receivers, with 3 of them going on the IR. First guy you might know, Odell Beckham's gone for the year with a broken ankle.
Yeah.
Brendan Marshall's
They lost four.
Brandon Marshall out for the year
Wow.
with an ankle injury.
Wow.
He started off slow, but played better after the first couple of games. Dwayne Harris, who's their returner, special team ace, and a backup receiver, is gone for the year. And Sterling Shepard, our slot receiver, has got an ankle injury.
Wow.
He will be back at some point. Okay, we picked up 3 guys,
Wow.
some off the street.
Wow.
Ed Egan, Tavares King, and Travis Rudolph. So you got Roger Lewis.
You know any of these guys?
They were camp guys. And Tavares King and Roger Lewis Jr. are the new starting wide receivers for the New York Giants.
Is that right?
Now, I'm sick and tired.
Giants. I mean, do you want to win a game at this point?
Gosh,
you
I
rather-
may be at the point of going.
God, you might have the first pick.
Right now, the problem with the Giants is I predicted a 10-6. I said they weren't as good as 11-5. 10-6.
Wow.
We'll make the playoffs. We'll fight the Cowboys, who are having a rough time of it at 2-3. You're the Cleveland Browns. You're the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
You knew before training camp even opened up in the summer, we're going to suck. We're going to suck really bad. Okay. The Giants had aspirations to even make it to the Super Bowl this year. Their defense was unbelievably great this year. But the offensive line did not improve. Last week's game, Duke, Eli was sacked 5 times, just hurried constantly. And these idiots in the media, internet, Eli's lost it. They don't watch the games. I watch every single snap. They don't know what they're talking about. Now, just say, for example, the Giants do get a top 3, top 5 pick.
Yeah.
I would prefer, because I still think Eli is 3 years younger than Tom Brady. Okay, I still think Eli, with protection, is still a top 10 quarterback in this league.
Yeah.
And my question is, after spending all that money, free agency on the defense last year, who do you get to replace Eli? Nobody. There's nobody out there. And you don't want to bring a rookie in here with the defense getting paid that much money. So I would trade the pick, and there's a kid by the name of Mike McClinchy from Notre Dame, tackle. I would draft. You probably could get him 10th overall pick and trade him for picks. But another thing happening today is Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie was suspended for a game. He got into it with Ben McAdoo during the game.
Really?
Sunday. They suspend him today. Ben McAdoo, and I would hate to admit that Leonard Parent might be right, but Ben McAdoo, their second-year head coach, may be losing that locker room.
Really?
And if you put a gun to my head right now and you ask me what the Giants' record is going to be this year, it's 2-14.
Wow.
I just see a lot of 3-and-outs with this team. Guys literally picking up off the street. A horrible offensive line.
What game are you going to be saying?
The LA Rams that should have beaten the Seahawks. Jared Goff threw a great pass. It was fast, but the guy should have had it. Rookie receiver.
And when's that game? Not soon?
November 5th, first Sunday of the month. The But them being bad, it's still fun to go down once a year. Blah blah blah.
I know you're a great fan.
Yeah.
But boy, tough for the Patriots game, which we talked about, I think, on the golf course Friday. Patriots win, less than impressive. Talk about holding on against and Brady. Brady's getting. This is a headline in the Globe today. Brady out of practice with a shoulder sprain.
Did not practice today. Didn't practice yesterday.
Right.
He's got a left shoulder. It's negative, an AC joint sprain.
Right,
And this I got from my buddy Joe on the golf course yesterday. The most telling statistic.
Yeah.
Last season, Tom Brady was sacked 13 times.
Right. He's
This season,
over that.
he's been sacked 13 times.
Wow.
Okay? So, and I know he's a GOAT, greatest of all time. But he is 40 years old, and we got to keep Tom standing up. And so they've got some issues.
But here's some stats on Mr. Brady. Guess who's leading the NFL with passing yards?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Oh, he's
1,702 yards and 11 TDs.
But my point
Couple
is,
picks, maybe.
a 40-year-old's bone structure is different than a 25-year-old's
Of
bone
course,
structure.
his line seems to be, "I've learned how to fall better," whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
But I hear you.
Yeah.
I guess he tries to purposely fall on his
And I'll tell you
left side
what,
or something.
with all that's been going on with the NFL this year, that's the last thing they want is he is the face of the NFL, Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So, you don't want to lose him.
But again, the Pats continue, again, a better defensive effort against Tampa Bay. And Jameis Winston, he's erratic,
That's
he's
the
not
word he's not a top-notch
But
quarterback.
no, I'm still, way less than impressed. And their pass rush, at times, it's just totally non-existent. They're giving passers just an insane amount of time to, find somebody. So the Pats, not impressive so far.
Now you have a 1:00 game Sunday at the Meadowlands against the Jets. You're favored by 9.5. The Jets, surprisingly, 3-2?
3-2, and the Jets, for the record, usually play the Pats pretty tough.
Yeah.
I consider that anything. That line is even high to me.
Yeah.
Wasn't the Kansas City line like 13 or 14 in the first game? Pats over Kansas City. I think it was
might have been
I
double
think I mentioned
digits,
it. It's the most absurd line
Yeah.
I've ever seen out of Vegas. Maybe 9.5. That sure
And
sounds
that-
a little high to me.
Actually, a springboard of the Chiefs. I really thought that gave them some confidence.
Right. Chiefs are one undefeated team in the league.
5-0. Yeah.
No, so the Pats,
Kansas City's at
Pats
home
aren't
against
knocking me
Pittsburgh.
over
and
too much.
Yeah. So,
The Thursday night, what do we have tomorrow night?
Carolina, Philadelphia, which
Not a
might
bad
be a
matchup.
good game. Carson Wentz for Philadelphia, guy I'm really falling in love with. This guy is a good ball player. So, basketball, Duke. The Celtics.
I haven't missed it. The regular season hasn't started, has it?
Next Tuesday night.
Next Tuesday.
Circle your calendar. Okay. Game of the year.
We got Cleveland.
We're in
Cleveland
Cleveland.
coming at Celtics at Cleveland.
At Cleveland. Let me check here my notes.
Wow, Celtics
Tuesday
at
at Cleveland. Yeah.
I guess we will not see Mr. Isaiah Thomas, huh?
Now the big three haven't played much. The smart thing about the NBA, Duke, they only play 4 exhibition games.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's a reduction. Didn't they cut down the number of games?
I'm not sure what they had before, but and Brad Stevens is. Jason Tatum's been getting a lot of playing time. He'll start again tonight.
Yeah.
His shooting's been off a little bit, but I'm not overly concerned. The kid looks like he's got a very high basketball IQ.
He looks like a pretty good player.
Knows how to get open.
Yeah.
And I'm almost ready to anoint him as a starter. I don't think it'll happen,
Really?
but I'll tell you what, more than likely would be on the second unit. But
That's fine. It
he's
might be a better place for
He's
him.
a hired assassin. That is his job, is to put up points. And I agree with Danny Ainge that we had the first overall pick, traded to Philadelphia for the third pick. I truly believe that Tatum was going to be our first overall pick.
Yeah,
So
I tend to believe him too.
Jason Brown.
Jaylen Brown?
Jaylen Brown has matured, has looked good. I've watched every game, and I've got the Charlotte game recording tonight.
Yeah.
And again, I know who Kyrie Irving is. I don't need to see him play. He'll get a few minutes.
Yeah.
And likewise with Hayward and Holford.
Well, one of their new, I don't even know this guy. And one of the extra, I think I just saw some highlights.
Are you talking about Aaron?
Is it a B? I don't even know the guy's name, I don't think.
Aaron Baines from Australia. He's 30 years old,
Really?
built like a brick house, and will hit that rim hard.
And how tall is he? Being like 6'11" or something?
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Where did he come from?
He's done some time with San Antonio,
Really?
but he's looked really good to an exhibition. Now, the wisdom was Al Horford was going to be the number 5 guy, the center, with Maurice Morris, the number 4, strong forward position.
Yeah.
Horford, if you ask him, would prefer to be the number 4.
Yeah.
I would like to see Baines be the starting center,
So or Horford
hang
can go
around
back there.
and put Morris on the second unit. But I'll tell you, I'm not sure how long it's going to take the Celtics to gel, but I like them, and I know everybody's saying the Cavaliers are a better team, and of course they got Dwayne Wade. I don't know how much gas he's got left.
Yeah. Not to mention who's the guard from the Knicks, Chicago.
A former MVP guard,
Mr. Rose.
Derrick Rose. Yes. If these guys are inspired, they probably still can play some good ball. But Kyrie Irving, the more I look at this trade, and Isaiah Thomas came out with some real bitter words towards Danny Ainge today.
Did he really?
Very bitter, saying he loves Boston, loves his teammates, but he
really?
probably will never say another word
Really?
to Danny Ainge. Listen,
Jeez,
he was
I hate to tell you, if you're the general manager, you probably would have made the same trade.
Dude,
he had an unreal year and stuff, but I don't think you're the guy who's going to knock the Celtics, kick them to the next level, which Kyrie certainly could be that guy.
Thomas, at the earliest, will be sometime in January.
Yeah.
A half a season ball player. Again, one-dimensional. Great shooter.
Is anybody going to pay him mega bucks?
No.
No way.
Because he said all summer, you're going to have to back up the
Brinks truck.
Right. But I said, no.
And I don't mean
he's
to minute.
29 years old.
He did have an unreal year. I don't mean to
sure.
minimize his year at all, and the fans love this guy.
Okay.
But again, I just did not see a championship coming out of that
He would not
group.
have fit in with this team because last year, as we both agreed, this team went as far as they could. Yeah. I probably will not have more fun the rest of my Celtic career than last year because these guys were average players. Yeah. They were blue-collar, lunch-pail players that Coach Stevens got the most out of. Yeah. But now you bring in a great athlete, and Irving is a great athlete.
Not to mention Gordon Hayward.
Right. Hayward's a super shooter. Hopefully, and I'm sure it will happen, Kyrie's got to play a little bit of defense this year.
Nice.
And I'm not so sure how much defense was even emphasized playing for the Cavs.
To think he's capable of that.
But, to finishing a play, going to the hoop, Irving up there with John Wall, he's incredible. And he is extremely happy with the Celtics. You can see it on the bench.
Looks like it.
It's his team.
Yeah.
Gordon Hayward doesn't mind being
that's
number
okay
2.
With Gordon Hayward.
Al Horford doesn't want the attention. Sure. So they've got the big 3. I'm expecting big things. Marcus Smart, who I think is money driven, has lost 20 pounds.
Oh, is that right?
Okay. Looks good. Because I always thought he was
last year
chunky.
of his rookie contract.
Right, and the Celtics have until next week to give him an extension.
Do you think they will?
I couldn't tell. I don't know. If not, he'll be a restricted free agent.
When they can match
this market
somebody else?
Right now, because I'll give an outrageous salary, he could get anywhere from $15 to $20 million as a backup player. A guy by the name of, I think, Gary Harris just signed 4 years. You don't even know who he is. 4 years, $84 million.
It's unreal.
Folks, this guy's a very good player, and I'm sure you heard it yesterday. Joel Embiid, I believe he played for Kansas.
Kansas, yeah.
One and done. He's been in the NBA for 3 years.
Is he finally ready to play?
Total of 31 games he's played in 3 years.
Wow.
He signed an extension yesterday.
Wow.
5 years.
This is Sixers, right?
Yes. 5 years, $148 million after playing a total of 31 games. So that's $29.5 million for the next 5 years for a guy with a gimpy knee. And again, he's a player. This guy is really
Given
good.
that, maybe my criticism of David Price, I should lower a little bit. 31 mil, you know.
Well,
Jeez, that's unreal.
there's
I
guys.
guess they just have the money. They literally have money to throw around.
Your friend Jahlil Okafor still on the Sixers.
Is he still in the Sixers?
Just
And doesn't figure to even play that much?
end of the bench kind of guy,
That
just
right?
a bust. I
thought the Celtics weren't the shouldn't they have traded him to the Celtics?
Yeah, he can be had. I don't know if there's any room on Boston for him right now, but he just has never played defense. And I watched him the other night, specifically on the defensive end of the floor.
Right?
Just not much effort.
Yeah.
And I'm not overly critical just of him. There's a lot of guys that play that way. But
Jeez, you'd
your
think, though.
big basketball game, our love for defense, our old friend Avery Bradley, just a complete player. I love watching Marcus Smart. I hope he stays with the Celts.
Yeah.
He plays defense.
Yeah.
And that was
I agree. Nice to see players play defense.
yeah. So
Interesting.
very excited.
Yeah, we got, as you said, we got Celtics at Cleveland, 8 o'clock next Tuesday night, TNT.
And I will tell you, I remember when Irving, and of course I said to myself, well, actually I land-based Duke. Cleveland signing first overall pick by Cleveland. That was after LeBron left, and they were horrible. The Cavs had the first pick. Kyrie Irving had, 9 games total?
I think 9 games.
In his Duke career. I said, Duke, I'm not being critical, but who is Kyrie Irving? He hasn't really shown me anything. Well, he goes with Cleveland. Looked really good his first season. I remember Tommy Heinsohn, who was 80-some-odd years old.
Tommy liked him, right?
He said, this guy looks so good. I can see him in the Hall of Fame, which is,
might
if
happen.
you know Heinsohn, he doesn't give those accolades all that freely.
Is Tommy, have you heard him talk much about Tatum? Is he pretty high on Jason Tatum?
Yes, again, basketball IQ, he just really knows how to,
Seems like
and it's simple stuff, how to space himself.
One season.
Right.
No, you hate one and done. Even one season with a program like Duke is you're going to probably learn a few things.
But the intelligence part is creating space on the floor, creating that open shot. The kid looks like he knows what he's doing. So very, very pleased.
So hockey, I noticed, boy, my Bruins had a lousy second game after a good first game. Shut out, I think 3-4 zip.
4-0 on Columbus Day.
Playing tonight against Colorado. And the Habs, what are they? Won their first game, right?
Yeah, in overtime shootout. They've lost 3 in a row.
Since then?
And they scored a total 4 goals in 4 games. Do the math. They're 0 for 14.
Is that right?
0 for 14 in power plays.
Wow.
And listen to this stat. I jotted this down. They lead the league in shots after 4 games.
Really?
155 shots.
Really? And 4 goals?
Right. That's a 38.7 shots per game.
Wow.
You do your calculator, Duke.
Wow.
They're scoring at a 2.5% clip.
Wow.
Okay. They've got, as of today, Alex Galchenyuk, who I really thought was going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
They moved him down to the 4th line today at practice.
Really?
They can't score. You get down 1-0 and you feel like the game is already lost.
Wow.
Of course, they won their division last year, and I think the second week of October last year, they went in first place and never dropped lower than first all season.
Really?
But
wow, boy, the fans can't be too happy.
that was their opening
Montreal,
game, and geez.
So again, they've just had 1 goal since the first game.
No, 4 goals, 1 goal a game average.
I know, but how many goals did they get in the first? Didn't they win like 3-2? So 1 goal since the first game.
They were shut out.
2 shutouts.
Yeah, I'm not.
Anyway.
Well, the goal they scored in the shootout, they don't count.
Okay,
as a
so
goal.
maybe just 2, whatever.
But
Wow.
So they got the Toronto, as I used to call them, the Toronto Maple Loaves. The Leafs look for real. They got some really great young players on the team. They're scoring a ton of goals, and they're going to have their hands full Saturday night at the Bell Center. So
interesting. Hey, I know we talk a lot about soccer, but it's probably worth noting the U.S. And I just happened to hear one of the CBS, Mr. Writer, CBS Sports Talk this evening. This meant nothing to me, but the U.S. just needed, I guess, 1 point a tie against, seemingly
Trinidad.
For Trinidad, he pronounced it Trinidad and Tobago. I believe it's Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
I think he acknowledged he didn't even know how to pronounce the country. They just needed a tie, and they've lost to these guys.
And
They do not qualify apparently for the World Cup.
And Mexico played Honduras. There were Costa Rica plays. So certain dominoes had to fall for the U.S.
I was reading that just with a tie, they were just about almost certainly in it, and they didn't get it.
I know nothing about soccer.
You know what the score of the game was? 1-0. I think it was an
2-1.
2-1.
And one of the
I think
players,
it was an own goal knocked in there.
Right. He was knocking the ball out of play, and he kicked it in the upper corner.
Mr. Ryder said he played some tape of Bruce Arena, the coach, and said, I hope I never hear that guy's voice again.
I turned on SportsCenter, and that was their lead story.
All right.
They went 10 minutes.
This last night or the night?
Last night at 1, 2 in the morning. They went first 10 minutes of the show
Did they
was
really?
about this.
Wow.
And they were saying, one of the commentators, how does a country of 325 million people, with the wealth this country has, with all the facilities available, could lose to a team like Trinidad and Tobago, which might,
He said it was the size of He said it was the size of San Diego.
Okay.
And I can't reel off
I don't remember
a
the
million
population.
or two, maybe.
You're right.
Okay.
Now, he blamed the soccer culture in this country, which made sense to me. That you play soccer in this country during your developmental years, meaning your high school years. You play 3 years, September, October, November. In this country, season over, soccer cleats come off, skates come on, your basketball sneakers come on. And unlike other countries, and again, soccer is a poor man's sport in this world because all you need is a pair of cleats and a ball in an open field, okay? And that's why it is the number one sport in the world. Never will be in this country because it's so boring to watch.
Although the way football's going, who knows?
You know, Duke, you actually make a good point.
Who knows down the road?
Football could fall by the wayside, and but it was a huge, huge
it's a
story.
big story.
And do you think the World Cup people are dismayed by this? Of course.
I wouldn't think they'd be real happy to have. I mean, just such
Why
a
would the
big
United
country
States want to sponsor these games? I mean, the basic fact, I don't know where it's going to be held, but the
that would have
basic
been funny
fact
had it been in the
is
U.S.
The soccer fans in this country are only soccer fans every 4 years during the World Cup and every 4 years during the Olympics. You know,
although some of your teams, I mean, Ryder, the guy on CBS Sports Radio, said he was in Portland, Oregon at some point, couldn't come close to getting a ticket.
No, there are some hardcore fans. They draw well up in Montreal at Saputo Stadium. There's some real hardcore
New England
fans.
Revolution, they don't do bad. Montreal does well.
But again, I have never met somebody we're asked to go out for a drink, go play baseball, or I'm a golf, go do something, and say, geez, Hawk, I can't. I've got to stay home and watch the New England Revolution. Soccer is on cable. It's not on a major network. I was told by a soccer coach 40-some-odd years ago, hey, by 1980, soccer will be the number one sport in this country. Not even close. And again, it's a very boring sport to watch on TV. It may be fun to play, and I appreciate anybody playing any sport to keep active, but it's certainly not my cup of tea. And if you think young people aren't watching baseball because it's boring, they're certainly not going to be watching soccer. So, but that was a huge story last night. So I went down to Gutterson.
Oh, that's right.
Saturday night, the Cats shut out Colorado College, and are they a better team than UVM? No, they're not in the national rankings. They didn't even receive any points, where UVM, at least, they're not in the top 20. but at least receive some votes.
I'm sorry, I thought you just said the Cats shut out Colorado.
On Friday night, wasn't it 3-0?
I guess so. And of course, you saw a loss Saturday
Right,
night.
4-3 game.
I listened to a little bit of that.
Now, I was more than curious to find out the attendance.
Yeah.
Me thinks UVM doesn't speak the truth. So I go to the box score. They had attendance 4,007
Which is capacity.
Both games.
Really?
I saw empty seats.
Unless it's the old, can they claim sell it if they sell it? What are the Reds? Didn't the Red Sox have like 500 straight alleged sellout
Right.
games?
It-
Cleveland
alleged.
had hundreds.
But as you know, the Red Sox have a lot of season ticket holders.
Yeah.
And if you can afford a season ticket at Fenway Park,
Yeah.
you're super rich, and it's no big deal that you throw a couple $150 each tickets.
My first cousin, Sarah Turner O'Neill, is a sweetheart lady in Boston. Her husband, Steve's a season ticket holder, but with about 10 other people.
Oh,
so he
so
catches maybe whatever.
8 games a year.
10 games.
Divide
or
by
something.
10, 8 games, yeah. Yeah.
So is that right? They listed. I wonder. I guess I'm sure their claim is, hey, we sold every seat.
I'll tell you my argument is the section right
But
behind where the band
students-
plays,
I mean, the student section.
half of that was empty.
Right.
And those are not reserved seats.
Yeah.
So,
No, that sounds like a dubious stat
Yeah.
then too.
whether it just isn't as loud down there like it used to be in the old
So
days.
how was the Saturday night game?
It was an enjoyable game
Yeah.
to watch.
Close game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like kind of sounds like the Cats. Win the first game, lose the second game. Sounds like those guys.
And they're on the road this weekend at Quinnipiac. Let me see if I can pronounce it correctly for the first time ever. Quinnipiac?
Yeah, I think a little closer. Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac.
Yeah,
Quinnipiac.
Second syllable. Quinnipiac.
Yeah. So they play them Saturday at 4, and
It's just one. So just
yeah,
one game.
and then they go to Schenectady against Union,
Union.
Sunday at 4
Kevin,
o'clock.
boy, is Kevin Stended, I hear, his 13th year or something like
Yeah, he's been there a while.
that. Again, some people aren't real high on him, but I mean, they're talking about zero. It seems like there's, it's not like managing the Red Sox quite, huh?
Again, we get back to the ancient Gutterson Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
And they freely admitted it. It's tough to compete with
Yeah.
other teams that have spanking new arenas. These kids are the best in North America, okay? They've been spoiled, rightly so probably.
Yeah.
You're the best. You're going to get whatever the best is.
Yeah.
And they come to this barn down in Burlington.
Yeah.
And, again, we've talked about it ad nauseum. They're going to be refurbishing that place at probably $75 million.
Yeah.
It probably will look like a brand new arena. The Patrick Gym is getting a brand new arena.
Yeah.
Actually, they will keep that, knock the center section out, hooking up both arenas and putting up the new basketball arena.
Yeah.
And with that being mentioned, a very nice story on Tom Brennan yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
That December 11th, they're
They gonna,
dedicating.
retire his number or
No, they're going to name the floor the Tom
right?
Brennan floor.
something? No, really.
And they're going to keep it there even after they move to the new arena. And he says he doesn't want his name on the new arena anyway, because this is where he's done his work.
But again, UVM saying they're going to put it on the new arena or
No,
not?
they're not. They'll
just on
keep the name there.
Patrick?
And Brennan,
That's
in
a
his
nice touch.
humorous way, said, listen,
touch.
there's been better coaches here at UVM. Heck, there's even been better basketball coaches here at UVM than me.
That's a nice touch.
Yeah, but just a
Nice touch.
great guy, so that is good. So, but I'm looking forward to getting down there again.
I got to
not
catch
to-
a boy. If you feel like some company for a hoops game at some point, I haven't seen the hoopsters in years. And
I
you're
brought you down a couple years ago.
a couple. I mean, one game maybe in 5 years. But you mentioned UVM. Playing, with the gut. Not exactly a big attraction. Kudos to the UVM hoopsters. A pretty decent program with playing in a glorified high school.
It's worse
gym.
than Gutterson. Yeah, Patrick Gym is terrible because you get in there with full crowd. There's not enough oxygen to even breathe.
I heard
in there.
Becker a while ago, and again, this isn't exactly a new issue, the UVM hoop coach, John Becker, but just saying they're just having trouble. I mean, their schedule, not a lot of home games. They obviously play their conference foes, but good luck getting a decent team to come to Patrick. I guess they have a few home and homes, but again, Duke's happy to have them. NC State, UNC, oh sure, come on down and play
right.
us every 10, 20 years. How about coming up once in a century? Yeah, be serious.
The only team, and that was probably 25 years ago, I can remember.
Villanova?
Exactly. Villanova. Rolly Massimino won the
Courtesy of
national
Rolly.
championship in 1980.
80 some
80 something. Well, he's a UVM
UVM
graduate.
grad.
A couple phone calls. Love to come up to Vermont. You play down here. We'll do a return visit. And I will tell you, I was at that game against Villanova.
Oh, is that right?
They had people sitting in the aisles,
Is that
which
right?
is a big no-no.
Right.
The fire chief said this is the last time you ever
Oh, is that
pull
right?
this stunt out.
Wow.
I mean, they just packed the place.
Wow.
They're very strict now about anybody sitting in the aisle.
So again, that's a drag for UVM, and we're talking just a ton of road games.
Well, I will tell you that my wife, and she probably will go down, has politely refused to go down to any more UVM hockey games with me. The discomfort of watching
just not fun.
Saturday night, I brought my grandson Jackson, who's all of 4.5 years of age.
And he does
The kid loves
well?
sports.
Yeah.
And he does pretty well.
That's great.
But you know, I've mentioned it before. When I go down to the Kreitzberg Arena at Norwich, I've got my own seat. I've got plenty of room.
Yeah.
When I go down to Middlebury to the, well, what's the name?
I don't know. I don't think I can give
The
you-
guy just donated. He donated about
drove
20
through
million.
Middlebury yesterday.
Yeah, computer tech guy.
And then, in fact, I mentioned you driving through. Nighthawk comes down here for hockey games.
Yep. So you got comfortable seats. All I want is my own individual seat with an armrest and some leg room. And
I love you got a beautiful spot in the gut. If it's a full house, it's not the most comfortable thing.
And Saturday night, nobody sat in front of me, nobody sat behind me,
That's
so I had all kinds of space to stretch.
That's a break.
You know, I brought you late last year, we were crammed in there. So, but with that being said, I will complain probably every week, but it's nice to see great hockey up there. I mean, you get a lot of future NHL stars. You know, one being Jack Eichel that we saw. I think I brought you that game. A couple years ago he was playing. Now he's a star for the Buffalo Sabres.
Not to mention UVM gets their share of NHLers. They've had certainly a number.
Well, one of them's on the Montreal Canadiens, Torrey Mitchell, that played for UVM maybe 15 years ago.
Oh, really?
So who else? He's old now, but Patrick Sharp.
Yeah, Patrick
back
Sharp.
on the Blackhawks.
Yeah. Of course, the road Kevin Miller.
Kevin Miller had a great, steady career. Just the way he played in college. Just he played nothing fancy, just mistake-free games. Of course, he had St. Louis, Tim Thomas, a plethora of people making it. But we were talking UVM last week with David, and Ricky Schreiner had called up.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it was a great call from Ricky.
And I checked my program just to recheck. There's not one Vermonter on UVM men's team, and Duke on the women's team. One Vermont gal
on the UVM
from
women's
Norwich,
hockey
Vermont.
team. Is that
that's
right?
it. So, you know, for all these parents that live in a life of grandeur or delusion, with their kids jumping up there, you know, your kid, and I'm speaking the truth here, better be a superstar as a freshman at BFA than say, see you later, Coach Toby. I'm going to prep school to harness. Instead of playing 24 games, whatever, I'm going to go down and play 80 games a year. You just can't make UVM on a Vermont high school.
Which makes just the John LeClaire story just such an unreal, but one in a...
let alone him making the NHL
again.
Out of Vermont is simply making it. And I should take the time just to check the Middlebury and Norwich rosters. You know, I'm sure there's
probably a few,
but not many. No, it's a difficult jump.
Hey, a golf note. Free Press had a nice story last Sunday on David Faraday. Did you catch that? He's speaking he does some speaking. In fact, on my southern trip last year, I vaguely considered he was speaking in Savannah when I was in Hilton Head, not far away. And he'd be a fun guy to listen to. But he's on the speaking. I think he's speaking at Champlain Valley Fair in one of the halls here this Saturday. But he does. You know, sure he gets some good buckos. It's not a cheap date. I think it was like 50, 60 bucks a
Oh,
ticket. But
are you
he'd be
thinking
fun.
about going?
I mean, money-wise, not really.
Because I'm not golfing Saturday.
All
They're
right.
calling for rain.
I think
on
it's
Saturday.
October 14, which would be Saturday.
Yeah.
I think it's Saturday night. If that's, I just don't think he could convince me to pay that kind of money.
Well,
He'd
between
be
you
fun
and
though.
me,
He's a fun guy.
when I went and saw Bill O'Reilly down
Yeah.
on Long Island
Yeah.
this summer, for a pair of tickets, I paid $325.
did you?
And this was face value. It wasn't buying it off.
That was face
Yeah,
value.
yeah.
I'm just not going to do stuff.
Yeah.
But Faraday would be fun.
Oh, you're right.
I mean, talk about someone who's obviously
He's a legend.
way more famous than most of the guys.
Absolutely.
He covers probably.
Absolutely.
The Free Press was just a question and answer. They got him on the phone in New York or something. But one of the questions, I won't be quite so graphic, but David, what was your most embarrassing moment on the golf course? Well, I think it was Vern Lundquist who wanted me to tell him how the putt was going to go in the 14th green. I don't know, it was Tiger's putt, and Mr. Faraday was indisposed. Is that the word I wanted at the time? And he said he mumbled something, but it was fun. He sounds like a great guy. I didn't, you know what I didn't realize? I knew he was. I guess I knew he was a pro golfer before his broadcasting days.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how good a pro golfer.
Yeah, he won some.
He had like some top tens in majors. Yep. I think like a 5th, 6th place or so.
And
I didn't realize he was that good.
This guy so intriguing is he was a big drunk.
Right. Now,
even during his playing career.
Right.
So he's got a life story to tell. It wasn't like his parents grew up on the golf course, had the silver. What he's from? What country?
Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland. Yeah.
Rory McIlroy, Graham McDowell's.
Yeah.
And in a place growing up at a time when, talk about terrorism and IRA
during the 60s and 70s.
Talk about some tough
IRA
stuff.
was on the nightly news every night.
Yeah.
Geez,
he'd be fun to catch.
If you consider doing that, give me a call. I would be more inclined to go see him talk than a Tiger Woods talk, just because he's got a life story, and he does. And I don't watch all the shows, but he does nice interview shows on the Golf
check
Channel.
your cell phone. You can dig up probably
Check my
easily.
cell phone.
Not your cell
computer?
phone. Just check when he's like punch him up. Just get the time when he's performing and stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Boy, money, it's hard to take. Anyway, it'd be fun. He'd be a fun guy to catch.
But you know what, Duke? You go down.
He had very
50,
good words
60
for Tiger.
bucks.
Not my favorite guy. He
But
loves
if I
Tiger.
took you up to the Bell Center for Bruin Canadians game,
Right,
you're going to be paying triple.
Oh, I hear you. Which is why I would probably never even think about doing it.
And again, I say this probably every month. I'm watching that Cub game today.
Yeah.
I don't know what the temp was. I'm sure it was probably low 50s.
Yeah.
Steady rain.
Yeah.
Windy. Okay, I'm lying on my bed in my jammies. Okay. Covered up in my favorite blanket.
Yeah.
I've got some nice French vanilla coffee I'm drinking.
Really?
I say, boy, how nice is this? If somebody would ask, would you trade seats behind the dugout? I would say absolutely not.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So 527-6449 to be on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. Would love to hear from you.
Golf, I'm sure you're all over. Was it the Safeway Open last week? And boy, poor Sonoma. I wonder if they'd be playing that tournament today. Heard from Ian's brother William, who's doing great job in San Francisco, getting a lot of smoke from the wildfires from wine country.
Well, I meant
this is beautiful terrain.
David,
Sonoma, Napa,
David was in
Mendocino
Napa,
counties.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound stupid or ignorant, but there's over 20 people dead. And I'm thinking, I'm not sure, don't they see the fire and leave? I'm not, and I don't sound stupid.
All I can tell you is some of the probably country's best firefighters in Arizona a couple of years ago around Prescott were killed. Remember that? They
put a tarp over themselves.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but I mean, these were your top of the line guys, and stuff happens.
Because
I think it was like about a dozen of those guys got killed.
I think the death tolls at 21, but David Muir from ABC News said hundreds are missing.
Hundreds are missing?
That's what the banner was during his.
Oh, really?
He's out there broadcasting live.
Is he really?
Yeah. So
you kind of get used to California wildfires in Southern Cal more, but wine country, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
Especially where there's a lot more rain usually.
Yeah.
Boy, wildfires. I mean, wildfires and floods. Talk about two things I can hardly think of getting involved
Yeah.
in worse situations.
And
But that's unreal.
a
Hundreds
couple
missing?
that was married for 75 years.
Yeah,
Unbelievable, 75 years of marriage,
Yeah.
and they perished
really.
in the fire. You know.
William said San Francisco, they had to like close the windows at their office or something.
Yeah, they were showing you the, I don't know, they called where the Angels play in Anaheim.
Yeah,
They were showing that ballpark. All you could see was, from the outfield
really.
is smoke.
Yeah, yeah. I think some serious wildfires got as close to L.A. area as they ever have this
Yeah.
last year.
And was it just a simple little brush fire?
Maybe it started that way. I mean, some of these are arson, some are lightning strikes, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the ones up in wine country. But man, wildfires, geez, good luck.
Yeah. So
Actually, there was a wildfire in New Hampshire. I guess was getting some attention. Not a huge. Was it New Hampshire? I guess not Vermont. I think New Hampshire.
yeah.
White Mountains somewhere, but a fairly rare event, fortunately,
Yeah.
for around here.
While that's going on in California, I mean, I'm just basking in this weather. Granted, today was a gloomy, cool day.
But
However-
yesterday, we're down in
Well-
southern Vermont. Yesterday, it felt
Duke,
mid 70s anyway,
it
wasn't
got up to 77 in Burlington yesterday.
Did it really?
I'm
Which
golfing,
might have been a record high or very
and-
close.
Joe and I went out around 4:15,
Yeah,
and it was still 73 degrees at the point. It was
Wow.
humid.
yeah.
And it was the 10th of October, and I go to Joe. I says, "Man, I hate to really complain. I'm glad Duke's not here.
Yeah.
It's really a little humid for me to
Yeah,
be golfing."
I hear you.
So, but tomorrow and Friday, I'm golfing both days.
Yeah.
Sunny skies. High tomorrow, like 61, 62,
Yeah.
and 65,
Which is
66.
which is what it should be. Pretty much.
59, I think we're down to daytime
totally.
highs. But, and the
levels
golf
kicked up
course
a little bit.
conceivably, closes, the weekend of Veterans Day.
Yeah,
I've worn shorts every day. I haven't even worn a long sleeve
no.
shirt yet out there. So, I know we had a horrific 2/3 of the summer, but geez,
So you're now easing off.
I'm-
Weren't you saying worst summer ever for golf anyway?
definitely.
You're
June is-
easing.
Yeah, I'm starting to say maybe life has a tendency to balance itself out.
The lake, of course, is kicked up. Boy, Monday, that was a tough day. I was with my buddy Alex in Burlington area. What a just downpours. Although I just saw officially a little over an inch of rain. I would have guessed about 2 inches, but the lake's kicked up some.
Yeah, I don't
Lake's
know.
about 95.66, I think, as of yesterday. And when it got so low about this time last year, it was about a foot and a third, or maybe a foot and a half lower or so.
Yeah, because I think
Anyway, so I don't think we're gonna be walking out to Mosquito Island again.
No.
I'd like to think I'd be kayaking, but my track record there is not real
Geez,
good.
I'll tell you, like I said, the next 2 days just looks absolutely wonderful.
Busy Alex and busy
And
guy.
rain, steady rain. They're reporting for Saturday, showers
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Football, high school.
BFA, you paying some attention to our Bob
So,
Whites?
I pay more attention now to MVU football, and of course they're taking
It
on
sounds
the
like their last game was a little, as the score seemed,
57
to
to
30.
30. Yeah,
Was it a little better game or not? Not really.
did not see it. I don't. I think I was supposed to go to the game. If I just don't remember what happened on
yeah,
Saturday.
didn't go.
But they've given up 1 minute.
1 minute?
Is my watch off again?
My watch is right. My watch is right.
Okay, so.
Anyway.
Well, we got 1 minute to go. So, again, if my calculations are correct, that will conclude our 750th
Wow.
show.
Thanks, Doc. Great job,
Yeah,
buddy.
so
Thanks
for Miss
the
Joanne,
folks who watch us
who I
out
should
there.
give high kudos to,
Really.
she's been here from the very beginning, and
Really.
she hasn't aged a bit. So until next Wednesday night, everyone, for the Duke, Joanne, I'm the Nighthawk, and remember, you do not have to be a great athlete to be a good sport. Good night, everyone.